We focus on the three, like sort of the trifecta of what affects men the most, and that's money, muscles, and game.
Yeah, man. Guys have really been kind of coming at me when I finally gave my opinions about the black pill.
Mhm.
And my view is very similar to the other extreme, different reasons for how they arrived there. But like the women who 4B and women who are talking about they want to swear off of men and men are the worst and there's nothing inherently good with men. And they're like demonizing the whole sex to a degree where they see no reason to interact with men at all.
Mhm.
That's functionally what it sounds like on the other end,
Mhm.
where men are ending up in a place and space where they don't want to interact with women in any way, shape, or form if they can help it. And it's like, I don't know if this defeatist, nihilistic perspective, I guess I'm not naive to the reality of how horrible the dating market is, especially in the modern realm. My view is that typically when men start to make personal improvements, usually one of the benefits is that women and money and friendships will start to kind of accumulate. And you still got to be intentional, but
Mhm.
I've always felt like when you just made general lifestyle improvements, you're like fun to be around. Like
Mhm.
more and more people are drawn to you or attracted to you. And and of course, with a little practice and putting yourself out there, naturally life starts to not look as bad. What do you think about that?
So I look at, like, when we talk about in the red pill in my space and wherever I'm, I do a program called Reignite, and we focus on the three, like sort of the trifecta of what affects men the most,
Mhm.
and that's money, muscles, and game, or wealth, health, wealth, and relationships. If you like that better, that sounds nicer to you. And then of course the one distinction I make is that the sum total of all three of those ends up composing what your frame is, like what's the world, what's the life that you build for yourself that other people want to enter into or don't want to enter into, right?
Mhm.
um so most guys, when they start reading the red pill information, like the data and stuff, and they start becoming more aware, they realize that they're usually deficient in one or more of those three, right?
Yep.
So it's money,
Yep.
muscles, and game. So it's, physique, affluence and status, money, that area, or it's game. They just lack social skills. Really, game. Like when we talk about pickup artists or whatever,
Yeah.
PUA, whatever, people get a bad taste in their mouth when you say stuff like that. But really, all it is teaching guys social skills that they didn't pick up along the way, that they should have picked up, right? That so that they would know. And I can't really blame like the last half of the millennials and all of Gen Z, because they grew up behind tablets, right?
Yeah.
They didn't have the live in person, face to face, so they're not picking up interpersonal skills. And so in steps myself or Aaron Clary or Mike Sartain or whoever
Mhm.
else, and we're just there to sort of help these guys along in that direction. So it's usually one of those three, and sometimes it's a combination of the both. But what I think a lot of people miss out on is that they're not independent of each other. So just as what you just said a moment ago, is they tend to be more synergistic. And I hate to use that term, but in this case, it kind of applies. So if you're like a fat ass and you get into the gym, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
You drop a lot of body fat. You get yourself down to 12% body fat, and you put on 8-10 pounds of muscle, right?
Yep.
How
Yep.
are people going to treat you? How are people, are people going to, are you going to notice a behavioral change in the way
Mhm.
that people react to you, how the way women want to engage with you? I think
Absolutely.
so. And so how is that going to affect your social skills? How is that? Or maybe you're going to get a better job because people want to hire good looking people, you
Yeah.
know? So one change in one of those areas affects the other two, right?
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
just say, for sake of argument, like you're working and suddenly you make $1 million in crypto or whatever it is. How is that going to, and I know because I deal with a lot of crypto guys who go
Mhm.
from like zero to hero. They go from being this broke coder to having $10 million in their bank account because and so what they're doing is they're carrying over and exacerbating the problems that they had before when they were broke, but now they're the same guy with $10 million in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
How is
Yeah.
that going to, now this is in a negative sense, right? How is that going to affect your muscle and game and everything else? Most
Mhm.
people, when they are deficient in two, they gross out in the one. So you've got,
Mhm. Mhm.
if a guy has he's fat and he doesn't have any social skills, he's going to say it doesn't matter anyways because women only want money. So I'm just going to make a lot of money, right? And so that, how does that affect their lifestyle? How does that affect their frame? Everything is based on transactions at that point. So what do they do? And then how does that affect their mindset? Well, I make a lot of money. Women respond to me because I have a lot of money. Ergo, women must only want money. And then they wonder why the hot chick that they want to get with is still sleeping with the broke musician that she can't get enough of, right?
Because there's something more, yeah.
Because he's hot, right? Or because or he's got something that, clearly it's not money. So and so there's that, they're trying to balance, sort of square a circle, circle a square, square a circle, whatever. And there just happen to be deficient in two other areas. And so if you would take the time to go and like improve yourself in one of those areas or two of those areas, you'll find that the other one benefits as a result of that. And then, as I said before, all of those, the sum total of money, muscles, and game ends up becoming what your frame is. So your frame is sort of like the world that you have that you want other people to enter into, or maybe like frame doesn't just apply to like women in intersexual relationships. It's also about your business relationships. It's also about your friendships. It's also about your family too. So, and then people think that frame is something like that, that pickup artists or like red pill guys just pulled out of our asses. It's like, no, that's actually a psychological and sociological term is what that is. And there's a very clear, concrete definition for what frame is. And when you put it into the aspects of money, muscle, and game, it's the sum total of those will create your frame. So what does your frame look like? Your frame is actually the net result of all of those, the quality of those three.
Unk be streaming. He been listen, y'all need to follow after Unk be streaming. If you haven't donated today, make sure y'all donate your $2 or $3 because I'm gonna make sure to show every single super chat that's put out there. Unk be streaming. He been cooking us as we've been talking this whole time. The moment we talked about the black pill, he said in 2025 the juice not worth the squeeze. The majority are overweight, other men's kids, double-digit bodies. How hard men are supposed to pursue trash options.
Don't pursue trash options.
Yeah, what do you think about
like
that?
you gotta fish where the fish are, man. I get this all the time. People go, well, they're all like that. How, like, that's really a super overgeneralization. Well, where do you live? Where are you at? What do you do? Like what the other thing that gets me is that because we get this all the time, like when on Access Vegas, people be like, oh, these girls are whores, or they're all plastic. I'm like, okay,
why are you dating plastic?
Get some normal girls. They say the same thing to Myron and Fresh too, right? and I'm like, okay, send me a picture of a normal girl. I never get a picture. I don't know why. But I do understand where that comes from, because it's not just like, I think when all you're seeing is like our girls from Las Vegas here, which I think we have the most top shelf chicks here, but like there's some very good looking girls in Miami. And it's, if you're sort of that mindset that there's that nothing period is good enough, but what that's your practice. That's
all you're going to see.
I'm just going to, everybody should walk away. You're just basically preaching your practice, right? Everybody should just walk away. Okay. Well, what would make the squeeze worth the juice? What would how would you value like, how do I upgrade the juice so it would be actually worth the squeeze? What does that look like? And nobody ever wants to talk about that, because as I said before, it's all about bumper stickers. It's always about, just walk away. And it's very satisfying too, to see. I see all these, I don't know if they have them so much anymore, but I can remember when, before YouTube cracked down on them, there was all these AI sort of faceless YouTube channels. And it was always the ones that like provoked the most, the of guys were always the ones that like just catapulted from like 0 subscribers to like 200,000 subscribers in like less than 2 months. And it's usually like the thumbnails of like some Greek god statue guy walking away from walking away. And I was like, yeah. And it's, you don't understand that that's just, it's AI that's just, playing to your psychological, your mindset is basically what it is. I think a lot of guys, if they took the time to sort of increase their value in some way, whether that's, usually it's the gym. Okay.
How you dress.
Well, I think that's a good starting point. And the reason why I say that is because 75% of the US population is overweight. Okay. So I'm pretty comfortable in saying you probably need to go to the gym, statistically speaking. And then what is it, like 35-40% are like obese. So that would be a good place to start. And then it's like, well, I wouldn't be worth it. Why would I want to go and do something like that? Because it's like you're just looking for reasons not to improve yourself. You're looking for reasons not to play the game. So is it that the game's not worth playing, or is it that you just don't want to play the game?
Yeah.
And usually it's because they don't want to play the game. And fine, don't play the game, but don't tell everybody they shouldn't be playing the game either, because a lot of people are I think there's a lot more to be optimistic about. I think I'm not like Aaron Clare is going to kill me for saying this, but I'm not of the opinion that we should just sort of let it burn, right? I'm not cut from the enjoy the decline cloth, right? Because eventually at the bottom of the decline, things are pretty fucked up.
Yeah, literally.
Mhm.